Greetings. This is Professor Popely with your Week 4 brief video lecture. I wanted to just go over a couple big concepts from this week's content. First, I want to talk about, which is on the screen, the concept of competitive advantage. We use the term a lot in marketing and in strategic management. It's really important to understand what that means. Competitive advantage means an advantage over the competition. In other words, a company's profitability is greater than average of all the companies in its industry. And it's important that a competitive advantage be sustainable, that is, can exist over a number of years. How do you get competitive advantage? There are 4 building blocks of competitive advantage that are going to be talked about in this week's content. Competitive advantage allows you to is an issue of differentiation first and foremost. You must be different and better than the alternative in order for a customer to want to select your product or service. How can you be better? You can be better because you have certain attributes that the customer wants in your product versus what's available in others. That's differentiation. Another is you could be lower cost. You can be cheaper. Those are two of the major ways, although there are other competitive strategies, but those are 2 very important competitive advantage strategies. So how do you get those, how do you create those elements of competitive advantage? There are 4 areas that we're going to talk about today: superior quality, superior customer responsiveness, superior efficiency, and superior innovation. Efficiency is measured by the quantity of inputs that it takes to produce a given output. So a company can develop a competitive advantage by being able to produce more with less resources. So maybe they're putting out a very similar product, but they can do it more cost effectively because they have built in some form of efficiency. So a good example of that would be Federal Express. They had an idea that they could move material around the world faster than the competition in a very, very efficient manner and through their process. So efficiency tends to be an issue of in a process. Quality is another area where competitive advantage can be maintained or created. Superior quality, that is the customer's perception that a product's attributes provide them with higher value than those of the competition. That can be produced in, it can come across as excellence. It can come across as reliability when a product consistently performs well. Some examples of companies that have built quality into their competitive advantage are Disney, Whole Foods, and the Wynn Las Vegas. Innovation is another competitive advantage, and there are lots of companies that have found a way to either innovate in their product or innovate in their process in a way that makes them different than the competition, puts them ahead of the competition, and provides more value for the customer. A couple examples of a product innovation obviously are, Toyota is a very famous one with the way that they innovated both their content, both the quality of their products, as well as innovated their processes. Amazon is another example of a very highly innovative company that has found new ways to present products that separate them and give them competitive advantage from the alternative. And then finally, customer responsiveness is a area that can be exploited by companies to create competitive advantage. So customer response time that's very fast, the ability to satisfy customer needs better than a rival, better attention being paid to the customer after they've acquired and used the product. Marriott and Hilton are 2 companies that have created a competitive advantage around customer responsiveness. Another area that I'd like to talk about is the value chain. This is a very important concept that we're going to be spending quite a bit of time on. You're going to be doing your project on it this week. You're going to be looking at the value chain for a hotel chain. And the value chain just means that there are activities inside a company, both their primary activities and support activities, and each one links together to create the value that is provided to the customer. Each one contributes in some way to the value and the value proposition of what the customer gets out of a product. So the first you'll see in the primary activities, these are typically research and development, production, marketing and sales, and customer service. Other support activities are involved in the company's infrastructure, human resource, materials management, and information systems. Let's take each of these pieces of the value chain and break them down. So in terms of research and development, design of products and production processes, superior product design are very important and can obviously contribute to both the ability of a company to innovate and the ability of a company to produce a quality product. So you can see how those contribute to competitive advantage. Production. If the production system is highly efficient, if the production system creates good products and services, that is a important asset inside the company that adds to the value of services provided. The marketing and sales process adds value. Marketing and sales help position and advertise the product and help create value by discovering the customer's needs, which then go back to those who are designing and developing the products to make sure that they match with what customers are looking for, what value they are seeking. Customer service, after sales service and support, superior problem solving on behalf of the customer, and supporting customers after purchase. You could see where the value chain would break down without that component, that even if the company that has the best products that match customer needs can fall down on the side of supporting customers and thereby lose the competitive advantage they might have gained. Within the support realm, materials management. What is this? How efficient is the supply chain? How quickly and how efficiently can the materials come in that need to be turned into the product, and then how quickly can they be delivered out into the environment for sale? So logistics is enormously important as a support activity for creating value. Human resources. In our industry in particular, we talk a lot about the importance of the role of the making the right hires so that delivering that customer responsiveness that is such a competitive advantage in hospitality, it all depends on human resources. So the value chain is enhanced by human resources. Information systems, the ability to put electronic systems in place to help the company communicate internally and externally, very important, and company infrastructure, also very important. Does it have good leadership? What we're talking about here is who's the president, who is on the board, how do people communicate within the company, how are decisions made, what is the culture of the company, and what kind of systems are in place to make sure that the strategy is being delivered as the vision of the leaders so dictate. So once a company has acquired competitive advantage, how do you keep it? How do you keep others from just imitating what you've done and taking market share from you and really decreasing your competitive advantage because now they have it too? Well, it's important that companies also know how to make it difficult for competitors to copy what's distinctive about a company, and so that they can maintain their competitive advantage over time. So one way is to really use the value of marketing and technology to make it very, very hard for companies to imitate or try to emulate what a company is doing. So So the brand names, good branding, good marketing and technical know-how and technological know-how can present a barrier to companies trying to enter and imitate in order